battery in it. Is that better? Hello, how's it going? Fine to see you here. I am here to show off my collection of cars, my Frankenstein cars that I have being cooked up here in the shed. Well, it's really only one Frankenstein car. The other are all very tame and normal. But a long story short, this is my now YouTube channel for the longer videos that I have instead of my short little TikToks. And the quality of my phone is horrible for when I film TikToks. So I got a proper mic and everything, so it'll be a bit better. Anyway, so this is my setup here, and I'm going to introduce you to the build that we have. The whole purpose that most people would care about. There's nothing else really, but this is it actually behind me. This is part of it actually behind me, set up on a car rotisserie here. That was done a few weeks ago. Another part is behind the camera there, and then we've got more parts going on everywhere. So basically, the gist of the build is a 1984 HJ47. That's what I got. I bought it, would have been the start of last year. Didn't originally have plans to really do what I'm doing now. It's a bit over the top in terms of things, but it's what I've ended up doing. Originally it was just going to be a nice sort of stock standard. It was a very, very cheap HJ47, and it's the car that I wanted. I don't really like the 70 series, so I really wanted the 40 series, and I just bought the this one. It was very lucky the way that I got it. Most people wouldn't have actually bought this one. It was way, way too rusty. I did because I'd already had a bit of experience with my first Landcruiser. It was rusty, but that's why you get them cheap. So I sort of had an idea formulated in my mind after I saw a 70 series with the V8 in it drive past me, and I really sort of had something form, and it was this idea that I now have. So it's the 1984 HJ47 for the body, with the 79 series 1VD as the motor on an 80 series chassis, which is just standard. That's not really a groundbreaking thing. They should all be on 80 series chassis really. If you're doing this, it's just a sort of standard thing. Everybody does it, and it's really not actually that difficult to do. Makes everything a lot easier. Other things like it'll have the 1VD gearbox, and most of it will be sort of custom, and just the regular stuff would come with that. But the main thing is the V8 swap into this body, which is on the 80 series chassis, twin locked with 35s. It's pretty normal stuff. It's not really out of the ordinary for one of these, but where it really gets interesting is sort of the method that I'm going about it. Obviously, as I explained in the start of the video, the only way that someone like me would be able to do it. Don't have the money or the resources to go out and do it properly, so I'm doing it my way, which is the same way that a lot of people would do it probably, but I will show that to you now. So everyone that's here from my TikTok would obviously already know all of this stuff. It's I've shown a lot of it, even from the start all the way to where it is now. But what we have behind me is our body that we're looking at. Obviously in 1984, it's got the old the tacho over there. Yes, it's very, very, very rusty, as you can see. I'll put a whole lot of clips in there. We've got holes right in the floor here. Don't know if you can see that. Holes basically everywhere. Everything that I could is stripped off of it. It took me a long time to get to that point. You can see got the start of the rust repairs going on down here. RHS that I've cut up there, made it in. You can sort of see it under there. And it's on top of this car rotisserie here, which was an interesting idea to go with, because I don't usually see ute cabs put on these. I needed to do this because the body mounts down here are completely done for. They need to be completely changed. Can't really change the body mounts without having it resting on the body mounts, and I can't change the body mounts. So I needed to find a way to have it being held whilst I do it, and the rotisserie is the best way to do that. So made these mounts up here, nice mounts. This is sort of the one that I want to go with. I really like this one. I've driven it around, and it's cool, it's nice, and it's something cool to repair because there's not many of them. And it's also going to have, I'm going to be tubing it with a sort of a internal roll cage sort of thing. It's good if anybody needs to repair any rust. This is sort of a good series to follow, I guess, because there's pretty much every form of rust repair going on in here. Don't have the 80 series chassis yet because obviously I'm not even finished with this yet. But I'm out hunting for one. So I'm on the hunt for a whole 80 series that I can sort of dismantle and get the parts that I want. But the best part is our motor. So first I'll show you the car that I got the motor out of, and this one is a very, very interesting story. Here it is. Okay, the camera died, so I had to wait for it to charge. Yes, this is the car here. So this is a 79 series, 2011, I believe, and it has come from the mines. It's an ex-mine vehicle. It's a statutory write-off from cab I'm not using anyway, but it has all the wiring in it. I picked this up very, very cheap. I didn't actually have to pay you would usually get for a Landcruiser wreck, but I still had all the motor still in as it was. Like, you could actually get it running, but it had like a fuel pump issue. So, and also had obviously the gearbox. The gearbox is here on the ground. It's dust from the mines in it, but yeah, you need the gearbox for the exchange anyway, and you get them rebuilt. The reason I bought this is then not like a 1VD because the 1VD on its own, if you wanted an actual good one, it would probably cost you about $10,000 just for the motor itself. Is twice as much as I paid for the entire car, and for good reason, because obviously I have no idea what condition the motor's in, and it's very clear that it's not. You can look at it, it's clearly not like a nice sort of motor, but it still had everything there, and it doesn't matter because I've got to rebuild it anyway. But the other thing is, you just buy a 1VD, that's great, but I'm not a very adept car builder. I'm not very good at, I did one car, then didn't even have to change the engine or anything. Doing a swap like that, there are not many documented cases of it. There's not a step-by-step guide like you putting an LS in it or something, or a Barra. I could never even dream. So luckily the engineers have already done all the work. So this has all of the wiring, so I don't have to touch any of the wiring. It goes in there. I have to put it in, but that's fine. That's just cutting holes and putting clips in and doing all that sort of stuff. Well, that's a task I can learn how to do. Fitting the motor in, obviously, that's it's a big issue, but you can sort of cut a lot out of this, and there's space for it. There's space for it. It's known. It can be done. Anything can sort of be done with enough persuasion. I was originally going to try and put it into the 47 chassis, but just coil convert it with the 79 series diffs here. It was just too difficult. Like, it would have been easy because I could have put the cab straight back on, but this chassis was way too thin. Like, getting the 80 series chassis is great because it's about the same sort of width as the 79 series chassis, so that'll make it a little bit easier. And then you just got to make mounts. Basically looking at, there is a lot of rust, but it doesn't matter because all the wiring is all still there and in good condition. Like, the only thing it doesn't have is a cluster, which is fine. You can buy one of those, it's easy. The actual motor is over here, and it's very, very interesting. Here is the 1VD that I will be using to swap into the HJ47 ute. You can see it's not your prime candidate for a 1VD swap, or any sort of swap really. You would just go and buy a better one. But so far, everything that I've spent on this car has not even amounted to the same amount that I would spend on just the motor itself. I'm happy to rebuild this. That's fine, that's okay, I can do it. Actually, because I've taken a lot off of it, and I've done a lot of that. I have a lot of videos of taking this thing apart. Obviously nothing is super bad. Got the carbon in there, they all look like that. This one might be a little bit worse than your average one, but that's fine. And on the inside, and when I lift these covers up, it all looks fine, And I've taken a lot of stuff off of this motor. Yeah, so from the inside, everything looks pretty fine, It's when you get down in there and see. I have no idea how many kilometers this actually has on it, so it's it's got to be rebuilt that's basically the end of the story. A bit of fun actually, getting to rebuild this thing. It's pretty cool. I still have to, you know, obviously I haven't even got the heads off yet, basically. Pretty much doing a lot of work on the cab first, sort of getting that done. I've still got to wait for, you know, a rebuild kit for this and do all that, so I'm sort of waiting so I can get this done. Maybe I'll do a few episodes. It's be a very cool sort of thing. It is what it is. I'm stuck right now trying to get the starter motor out, and so far those are our two components that we have. Waiting for a third. I'm waiting to find a good one, because I'm sort of tossing up between buying, you know, you can get a good sort of stock petrol 80 series with a bad motor for whatever, 4,000. You can even get it for 3,000 sometimes, which is great because it's all there, and you can take it apart so you can see what's been taken out. Or I could spend a little bit more money and get, you know, a cab with a few accessories that I already want, you know, with the 3 or 4 inch lift. You know, some even have front and rear lockers already in there, but then you're also working with what good a condition are they in. You know, they're probably not that great. So yeah, I'll probably end up just going with a stock sort of one and then see how we go. Maybe not, who knows. And it'd also be good if I could find one so I could get a few parts for my 80 series here, because it needs a lot of parts. That was my first build. It was fun. Yeah, that's what we've got so far for the build. So basically the work now is just doing our rust repairs on this, because I've got nothing else. Don't have any of the actual work to do, so it's just the rust repairs on this. Be fun. Probably one of the rustiest you would have ever seen, but that's fine. And then you know, get onto the engine work, and then finally onto the framework, and then it'll be putting them all together. Then it'll be onto the really fun stuff. But you know, who knows how long that'll take. But yeah, that's basically the build. Now on YouTube for sort of longer stuff that wouldn't really fit on TikTok. You know, all like my time lapses and all the good videos that I sort of would want to do. They're now going on here. I'll try and make, you know, one a week, something like that, one every 2 weeks. Or if I've got a lot going on, maybe even 2 a week. Yeah, that's sort of the work we got out, and hopefully the end product will be something pretty cool you can take on the tracks. Basically, that's the entire point. It's not a road car, it's a off-road car, 4-wheel drive. It's in the name, really. Want to follow along, there'll be some good stuff, hopefully. Maybe even some people can learn a couple of things about rust repairs, because I've done it all before, and it's a tricky job. But you can check out my TikTok. That's where all of the starting videos for these projects are, you know, where they came from. Well, way back to the first video I made about this 79, which is what got people really interested. You could say interested, angry, upset, but yeah, that's part of the job. So yeah, see you on the first episode of getting it built. Hopefully it'll be on this thing right here, getting some rust repairs done. So yeah, see you then.